Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bringing you another edition of 4 Downs with the Czar here at MetLife Stadium, where the New York Giants took on the Pittsburgh Steelers in a preseason matchup, and the Steelers came out on top 20-12. Now let's take a look at first down, some offensive first half takeaways for the New York Giants. Giants quarterback Josh Johnson got the start with the first team, but he struggled to move the football down the field offensively, took 3 sacks. One was inside the 10-yard line that capped off what could have been a touchdown drive, but ended up getting 3 points out of it. Running game wise, I thought Orleans Darker ran the football really well. I thought he had some nice runs in the first half. And you also look at Geno Smith started to come in the midway point of the second quarter. He fared a little bit better. The offense started to find its rhythm, some consistency. He was pushing the football vertically down the field in the passing game. So I thought he played well with his time early with some of the first and second teamers in the first half. Looking at the second half for the Giants offense, more up and down play. Geno Smith was now working with a third and fourth teamer, so you saw a lot of miscommunications in the passing game. The running game really couldn't get anything going. The one player that stepped up big time, I thought, was KEEON Johnson, the wide receiver number 82. He had a big catch on third down, caught a bubble screen, and was able to pick up positive yards. So I thought he did a great job in the second half. The running game, you saw a little bit of burst from Khalid Abdullah. His footwork is impressive, so I thought he did a nice job running the football. But overall, up and down play in the second half from that Giants offense. We did get to see Davis Webb quarterback more than I've seen him quarterback throughout the entire camp. So I thought he acclimated himself well. He was hitting a lot of short stuff and was able to move the football down the field. But again, this is a guy that wasn't getting a lot of reps in practice. I saw him get more reps today than I saw him get the entire training camp. Going back to minicamp was when you saw him get a lot of reps throwing the football. So for him to come out here today and get that many reps in the fourth quarter, I thought was very impressive. And he, again, acclimated himself well in the NFL playing against the Steelers, aggressive Steelers defense. Moving on to second down, first half, the offensive takeaways for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Josh Dobbs had 2 interceptions in the first half, but he did rebound like we saw him do back in his Tennessee Volunteer days and found COBI Hamilton on a post for a touchdown, a deep post for a touchdown, and Hamilton had 2 big catches in that first half. But other than that, the passing game was inconsistent. The running game couldn't really get going. That offensive line could not move that Giants defensive front off the ball. But overall, you saw some inconsistent play in the first half from Josh Dobbs. Some great play from COBI Hamilton, a wide receiver, and offensively along that offensive line, they really had their issues with that Giants front four. Moving on to the second half, offensive takeaways for Pittsburgh. Kyle Friend, the reserve center out of Temple, local kid, I thought played really well. He was able to stonewall Delvin Tomlinson a couple of times. He got really good movement in the running game, was get out and around on some running plays going to the outside. Pass protection was on point, so I thought he did a really great job when he got his turn in that starting lineup in the second half. Also, Dobbs reverted back to what we saw during his Tennessee days. Was able to rebound from what we saw in the first half. In the second half, I thought he played a little bit better. Bart Houston got some time, and he was able to throw some nice balls that were dropped by the receiver twice. Same receiver dropped the football twice. His name slips me. But Bart Houston, I thought, showed some good command, was able to push the football down the field vertically, missed on some accuracy deeper down the field, but 2 passes that should have been caught that would have been big gains were dropped by the receiver. But overall, inconsistent effort for both offenses. A lot of what you can expect in the first preseason game for both teams. Moving on to third down, defensive takeaways for the New York Giants in the first half. Landon Collins is playing outstanding football. He has had a great camp. He's playing a lot faster than what we saw him play last year, in which he made the Pro Bowl, and definitely faster than what we saw as a rookie. So if all of this is of any indication, he should be in store for an all-pro season in 2017. I also saw a lot of execution from the defense. And again, preseason football is about assignment, alignment, and execution. The defense got great run fits. A lot of what we saw all throughout camp, great run fits, didn't give up much to the Steelers running game. In the secondary, a lot of base coverage, but they were able to stay with their guys throughout the play, make it tough for Josh Dobbs to complete passes, and was able to break on a lot of passes. So I thought the first team defense played excellent football, and quiet as kept. Darian Thompson, the second-year safety, got a lot of time in this ball game. Once the starters started to get out of the game, they kept Thompson in for a little bit longer to get him some more reps, and he definitely played well. Second half defensive takeaways for the Giants. Now you're starting to see a lot of miscommunication in the secondary because of the guys that didn't get a lot of reps in camp are now trying to get out there and play consistent football in a real actual game. But I thought Curtis Grant, the linebacker, played some really good ball in the second half, chasing plays down sideline to sideline. But in the secondary, you saw a lot of big plays being given up. Again, a lot of that is because guys are just now starting to get some longer looks on the field at the same time because they're not getting those reps in practice. But again, Curtis Grant, I thought, played really good football, sideline to sideline linebacker in the second half. And finally, moving on to fourth down Steeler defensive takeaways, starting with the first half. Javon Hargrave may be in store for a Pro Bowl season. This guy was playing outstanding ball early on in his ball game, and quite honestly, that defensive line for Pittsburgh was very tough to move. The Giants also didn't have a lot of success moving the football because the Steelers defensive line was impenetrable, and I thought the linebackers had free reign to the football. Very impressive speed from the first team, second team, third team. All those linebackers ran to the football and caused a lot of problems. TJ Watt had 2 sacks in the first half, putting Josh Johnson on the ground. So very impressive play from the front seven. Also in the secondary, we saw Jordan Dangerfield do a great job attacking downhill in the running game and closing out. On this end of the field right here, the Giants drove down the field and the Steelers defense held them out of the end zone and forced a field goal. Again, great team defense, a lot of speed from the first, second, and third levels of this defense. And again, that's something you should be looking forward to seeing more of this year from the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the second half, it was more of the same. Arthur Moats had 2 sacks on Geno Smith. You saw Matt Galambos, the Pitt Panther, now Pittsburgh Steeler, step up and make some big-time plays versus the run going sideline to sideline as well. So once again, the team speed at that second level was on display. And the Steelers defense, I think, is going to be good because right now, what I saw just from this initial showing in the preseason is that they have a lot of depth, they have a lot of speed, and they still play with the same level of aggressiveness, whether they're on first team, second team, or third team. Offensive player of the game for the New York Giants, I'm going to give it to wide receiver KEEON Johnson. I thought he did a great job in showing himself positively in front of the Giants coaching staff, catching key passes on third down, catching a couple of bubble screens, turning them into big gains. So I thought he played well against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Defensive player of the game, in my opinion, the entire defensive line. First, second, third, and fourth teamers I thought were assignment sound. They were gap disciplined. They did a great job in maintaining the line of scrimmage. So in my opinion, that entire defensive line unit earns player of the game. Offensive player of the game for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm going with wide receiver COBI Hamilton. This was a guy that stepped up big time in this game, catching 2 deep balls by Josh Dobbs. In the game that didn't have a lot of big plays, COBI Hamilton was able to step up and make the 2 big ones for this Pittsburgh passing game. Defensive player of the game for the Steelers, I'm going to give it to the entire second level. I was very impressed with the speed, aggressiveness, and consistency from all 3 teams, first, second, third team. All those linebackers I thought played an outstanding game. So the entire second level of the Pittsburgh Steelers linebacking core gets defensive MVP for me. So that's a wrap here from MetLife Stadium. Once again, the Steelers knocked off the Giants 20-12 in a preseason game. For more of our NFL coverage, visit our website at footballgameplan.com/NFL.